Annabelle, and currently I have a 2-year-old son. I'm a primary school educator at the moment.
My name is Nicole. I'm 26 this year and I'm a mother of a 17-month-old boy.
Hello everybody, my name is Crystal. I'm turning 29 this year and I'm a mother of 2. My daughter is 3 and my son is 7 months old.
The biggest difference for Western learning environment, it's more student-centric, so they follow the child's lead, whereas an Asian language environment will be more teacher-centered.
I think the main difference is that I think Western is more like a free play, free exploration kind of concept, but whereas for Asian, we are more like a rigid and a very step-by-step kind of like approach.
I find that the biggest difference in the Asian and Western education system, or in terms of upbringing, is that Asian parents tend to focus a lot more on like the future. Hence, we would kind of pre-plan our child's future and I mean all of that is in terms of wanting our child to have a better education, for them to have a better future. I think for Western parents, as much as they want the best for their child, they are more of experiential style, so they will focus more on the now, spending time with their kids, not worrying so much about the future, but more of like, what can I do with my child now to ensure that these are memories that I can probably keep when they're older. Yeah.
Asian. Because of the education system we have here, because of number one, upbringing, because my parents were very they didn't really have a lot of education, so when they are parents themselves, their priority is to actually let their children study, and they really place emphasis on exams, get good marks and stuff like that. Yeah, and then for environment wise, we're in Singapore, so everything we do is all exams. So yeah, Asian.
I was brought up in a way where I feel like there was a good mix of both Asian and Western culture, in terms of education. So my mother did not focus on, grades. She always emphasized that it's okay as long as you did enough. She always told me that just pass, or just do your best. And even if your best isn't what you expected, the results is not there, it's okay lah. She actually gave me more experiences that I had instead of tuition classes. I could actually go for piano classes. I even went for Japanese classes because I told her I had an interest in it lah. And then she would be the kind of person who will let me try everything instead of focusing on like what's important in her sense.
Definitely Asian. Because in the past, our education is also more towards the rigid and Asian environment type. So for now, right, we are more exposed to Western learning pedagogies. So as well as the globalization era, so when we are guiding our next generation, it will be more towards the Western environment. I would not say that I prefer any type of learning style, because for myself as a parent, I try to adopt and learn the two different learning pedagogies. And for example, at home, I try to create a more Montessori environment for my kid, but at the same time, I also sent him to Hebrew lessons when he was 6 months old. I still do flashcards games with him at home, and he enjoys them. Because kids, they do not have a fine segregation of what is Asian and Western learning environment. As long as we give them our attention and love, it's enough for them. And I feel that in this era of globalization, it's good to look at both sides of education style, and both sides have their own pros and cons as well.
For me, I prefer a mixture of both. Because there's pros and cons in both Asian and Western. Like example, for Asian, although it's more rigid, but I think there are some things that we actually can learn, like example, discipline. So like example, exams and study, they actually teach us how to be disciplined in terms of not just exam-wise or study-wise, also in our lifestyle. But for Western-wise, they are more open in like exploration. It's very good because it actually intrigues our creativity and imagination skills, especially for children.
I wouldn't say that there's a preference towards Asian or Western education because I feel like each culture has its perks and we just have to find a good balance between both, because the Asian style of education is actually very empowering, because we're all parents and we kind of want the best for our children, and then sometimes our kids need a little push lah, so we kind of like can have the path for them set out so they can follow it, and like it's something that we as a parent can do, to kind of like guide them the right way. But in terms of the Western culture, I actually enjoy it a lot more as well, because it actually reminds me that as a parent, we only have so much time to spend with our child, and instead of worrying so much about the future, we should actually buzz into what we have right now with our child lah. Yeah.
I mentioned previously, my upbringing and my learning style is towards more Asian kind of concept. But for me, I'm a childcare teacher myself. So for childcare setting, we are moving towards more of like a westernized approach where we want to teach children to be more open, to explore, so like an imagination kind of thing. So like example, in the past we used to have things like rice cooker to teach us to cook rice, right? But for now, we actually want children to use things to make a rice cooker, for example. So for me, I think that this is one of the approach that I want to do with my children. But at the same time, it actually contradicts at the same time, because I'm trained to do a westernized approach. But for me, I'm upbringed and I'm taught to do an Asian approach. So this is where it contradicts. So now, throughout my years of experience in childcare setting, I'm trying to adapt both approaches into my education and then how I teach my children, especially my students in school.
I tend to give him more self-independent moment where he get to choose the things that interest him, and from the interest that he shows me, then I will come up with my own tools and learning environment to suit his interests. I try to follow his lead instead of me trying to get him to learn things that I want him to do.
I actually graduated with a degree in early childhood. Yeah, so I really love kids and I've been working with kids for most part of my life. So I would say that in terms of my education experience with children, it has actually made me more prepared to guide my child the right way. Yeah, so as much as I want my child to do well in school, I also want him to be focused on how to actually be a good person, to actually just be kind, because we cannot control how our child how well our child will do in school, but we can actually be the role model for them in how they're going to be in society, to be kind to people, to actually to know how to stand up for themselves in times of when something is unfair lah. So I would say that all my experiences as a teacher before actually helped me to see things better with my child, to actually focus more on the now.